Hello and welcome to InyoPool's How-To Guide section. In this video, we're going to be walking you through how to replace Hayward DE Filter Grids. Unfortunately, sometimes your filter grid might become torn or in extreme cases, broken on the inside. If this occurs, you will have to replace the individual broken grid or the entire grid assembly. Before getting started, here's a list of some of the materials you'll need to complete the job. First, you'll want to turn off the power. This should be done at the circuit breaker for maximum safety. Next, you'll want to open the pressure relief valve at the top of the filter. Then, you'll want to remove the drain plug from the bottom of the filter. Use a screwdriver for leverage if necessary. Now it's time to take off the clamp assembly. Use a socket wrench and an open-ended wrench to remove the nut and bolt from the clamp assembly. Take out the bolt and put it aside for safekeeping. The clamp assembly will still be pressed on tightly. You may need to use a rubber mallet to loosen the assembly. Take off the clamp assembly and place it to the side. The two halves of the filter might still be stuck together. Once again, use a rubber mallet to gently separate them. Now you can remove the top half of the filter. Here you can see what the grid assembly looks like after it's been used for quite a while. Hose down the grid assembly to remove some weight before removing. Now you'll want to lift the grid assembly straight up off of the filter, making sure the grid comes off smoothly from the manifold pipe. Put the grid assembly to the side and wash out the inside of the filter tank. We suggest replacing your old O-ring at this point because it's probably pretty worn out. Clean out the grooves and put your new O-ring in its place. Lubricate the top of the O-ring with a silicone or Teflon-based lubricant. If you're replacing the entire grid assembly, you can now take your new grid assembly and put it back into the filter tank. Just be sure to line up the manifold pipe correctly. If you are just replacing an individual grid, you'll want to take a look at the grid assembly you placed to the side earlier. Make sure you thoroughly rinse off the grid assembly. Next, you'll want to remove the top portion of the grid assembly with a small open-ended wrench, making a note of exactly how you took it off and what direction it was facing. You'll need a friend to hold the grid assembly in place while you do so. Remove the broken or damaged grid. Take the new grid and slide it exactly in the place of the previous grid. Wash off the rest of the individual grids one by one for maximum effectiveness. Once you've finished, you'll want to place the top back on the grid assembly exactly like it was before. Hand tighten and then wrench tighten the nut to secure the top. Now you can take the fully reassembled grid assembly and place it back into the filter tank, on top of the manifold pipe. Wash out the lid and place it back on top of the filter tank. Now, you'll want to put the clamp assembly back on the filter. Take the bolt and nut from earlier and secure the assembly. Be sure to tap around the clamp to make sure it's fully in position, and then tighten the clamp once again. Now you'll want to place the drain plug back in position. Switch your multi-port valve into the filter position. Now you can turn the power back on at the circuit breaker. Close the open pressure valve once a steady stream of water comes shooting out of the top. And there you have it, you've now replaced your DE filter grids. If you need any help on adding DE filter powder, be sure to check our guide on that as well. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to give us a call toll-free at 1-877-372-6038 or visit us online at www.inyopools.com.